It was a terrific day yesterday at the Barossa. It just had an atmosphere, well, I can safely say like no other, really. I mean, we've never played in the Barossa before, and this was a day for the Suns to come out and play. It was quite competitive there for a little while, but then the Suns just broke clear and yet again reinforced the fact that they will be there in September.
Yeah, they were definitely very good yesterday. And North Melbourne, as you said, played pretty good footy for the 2.5 quarters, and they led by 10 points deep into the third quarter. But what was alarming from that point on, it was plus 26 contested possessions in favour of the Gold Coast Suns, and all the things that they were poor against Sydney the week before came back in the last quarter and a half. There was hardly any pressure on the ball carrier. The ball went inside forward 50, and to lose by as much as they did in a quarter and 10 minutes was alarm bells again yesterday.
Yeah, and I want to touch on Gold Coast still, because their efficiency that I love at the moment, and I think Damien Hardwick's got them playing such strong brand of footy, forward handball, don't overuse it, play direct footy. Again, they didn't have anywhere near the same amount of disposals as North had, but they're playing such efficient, hard footy. They're almost unstoppable.
Everyone's talking about Jesse Hogan and also Sam Darcy, but the other man in the mix has to be Ben King with what he's doing. I think he's out of sight a little bit, out of mind with but being at the Gold Coast Suns. But 17 goals now for the season, leading the Coleman medal. He's been kicking around the late 40s to 50 in poor sides. Now he's in a very good side, and he's kicked a 6, a 4, a 2 and a 5. So those big bags are starting to come. He's more like your 3s and your 2s for years. Now I think he's about to explode, maybe with a 70-goal season.
He's got the radar on too now,
Yeah, he does. TJ, there's a perception amongst other clubs that the AFL has looked after the Gold Coast Suns with the early season fixturing. Now, they've done everything they can do to this point. Obviously, they're unbeaten, but they have had matches against West Coast, Melbourne and North Melbourne. Now, their best performance was last week, wasn't it, when they beat the Adelaide Crows? But they've been set up nicely. Richmond next week.
Are you saying that's orchestrated, Damo?
There's a perception of rival clubs that, yes,
I don't
it is,
want a
Nathan.
perception. I don't want a perception.
They've looked after him, Brownie.
That you think that's orchestrated.
West Coast, Melbourne, North Melbourne and Richmond amongst your
But
first
surely,
five
surely
games.
surely that means there's going to be a run of hard matches.
It could be, yeah.
Well, there will be.
But they've set them up. They've set them up to... And look, they're doing something very special. The whole game style has changed, hasn't it, this year?
They're playing different. Yeah, absolutely. They're playing more connected footy. Their defence is much tighter.
And they stood up in the one big game they've had against Adelaide last week.
All right.
Yep.
What about Clarko? What was his reaction?
Yeah, look, it's mixed messaging, TJ, isn't it? Last week he was defensive, and yesterday he took us down a few different tangents.
It wasn't at the level what it was earlier. You know, is it fatigue? Is it structure stuff? Is it the heat? Scheduled games in this climate at this time of the day. It just doesn't make sense to me. They did it with a game a couple of weeks ago as well. The very questions that you're asking of us right now, you've been asking of Gold Coast for the last 6 or 8 years. So we just know that it just takes time. You know, Brisbane took 6 or 8 years.
So you hear him talking about the heat. I mean, this is a guy who once took his own top off when it was near freezing in a game in Tasmania a couple of years ago. He would not have raised the temperature in any conditions at any stage. And look, I think he is getting a little bit desperate with his messaging now with what's happening at this footy club. And I know that you guys, all of you on this panel, think I'm too hard on them, but I just don't see any improvement of a significant nature. And I just keep looking at the results and they keep losing.
So you didn't like even their first 3 quarters?
But, Lloydie, they lost by 10 goals.
Yeah, I know.
And you can say, OK, they looked OK until three-quarter time even, but you almost know what's going to happen after that.
Yeah, I think where they're OK. So the midfield's good. I think the problem is the key position players, because I just think still Aidan Corr's playing on Ben King. So...
But that's not going to change.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I think they've put so much into the midfield. I just wonder whether the list balance is where it needs to be, because, you know, the midfield's stacked, but at either end of the ground is a little bit of a worry outside of Larkin.
So what do you want his messaging to be yesterday after the game? What annoyed you the most?
I don't think... I mean, there's 2 teams playing in the conditions. It's not as if North was subjected to conditions of the opponents.
In all honesty, you did demand an umbrella before.
I didn't demand it. Stewie came out and provided it to me. But, look, the Alistair Clarkson, who was successful with premiership-winning teams at Hawthorn, would not have ever dared raise
never made
conditions.
excuses.
Never make
he always
excuses.
owns everything,
and to hear him do it, TJ, I think it does get to the point that I think he may not have the answers that he thinks he once had.
He did say that both teams are playing in those conditions, didn't he?
Why raise it? Why raise it?
Yeah.